Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Unluck Gamers Talk News, because this is the second type of podcast in which me and Uriel talk about video game news and game industry news. And if this is the first time that you follow any of our podcast or live, I am Diego Cutie. I am a creative director in game design and the game industry by 16 years now, and I have worked most recently on Star of a Drive that you can find everywhere, really. At this point, it's alive everywhere. And the creative director of A Quiet Place. And you, Uriel?
Hi everyone, I'm Uriel Cozzolino. I'm a game designer. Most recently, I worked on Dino Patrol by Waypointer. And that's it. I'm younger than Diego.
Still very, very good. And as always, this is a very open live. So if you have questions or doubts, comments, whatever, feel free to say hi and no problem. So what we're talking today we are talking of news, specifically in this case, not a great news, to be honest, not
No.
a good news, which is the really, really, really big layoff that Microsoft has done into the game department. Specifically, a lot of this came into the QA department. And why this is a big news, you might ask, because there are a lot of layoffs usually in the game industry. And while that is absolutely true, it's also very strange to see such a big company as Microsoft doing this. And it's, unexpected to see such a high number.
Yeah, it was an extremely high number. We are talking about over 9,000 layoffs all around Microsoft. And they had to do the meme. It's over 9,000, but sadly it is over 9,000 layoffs. That is around 4% of their workforce, and a big part of these layoffs hit the gaming department, so basically the Xbox department. So it was massive. We are not talking about small numbers here.
No.
This is truly sad news for a lot of people, sadly. And it will have effects on the industry. I think this is what we are going to talk about today
Exactly.
together.
Oh, we have already two people watching us, so thank you for joining us. As always, thank you for giving us your time and say hi and any question and every doubt, comment, whatever. Feel free to share it with us. We are talking about the Microsoft layout, and while yes, uh, what Uriel just said, it's there's the meme. It's super sad, especially because 9,000 people. It's a massive amount of force. Just to give a prospect, you have to consider that right now in Ubisoft, which is one of the three biggest game company in the world, there are 18,000 workers. So to give a prospect, you have to imagine that basically Microsoft fired something around
Half.
a bit less than half. No, half actually. 9,000, half of Ubisoft. And that is insane. Okay, so one of the biggest video game company in the world, imagine just how fire half of his working force. If you change the prospect from 9,000 to this framing, you can understand even more how incredibly problematic is this, of course.
Yeah, along with the layoffs. No, don't worry. I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
Along with the layoffs, numerous projects were stopped.
of course.
The funding and were closed. Even very big projects. Even very important people like John and Brenda Romero, the creators of
Yes.
Doom. They saw their funding cancelled for the new project, and they were not the only one. Many announced projects from other studios. So yeah, as I said, we will talk more in depth about some of the consequences that these will have. But basically, this is the news: the layoffs
Mhm.
and the cancellation of many projects.
And I just sent a link on Twitch on the letter that Phil, the basically owner of Microsoft Game Department, wrote. And I know it sounds like I am on a virtual background, but I'm not, and I'm by phone, so I can't show you. So I will ask Uriel, can you read us this message
Yes.
so we can stop to specific points and discuss about it?
Yes, I will use my great pronunciation in English to read the letter.
Hmm.
So Phil says this is a memo, by the way, that Phil sent to the some of the upper management and the workers, and it reads: Today we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization to position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. We will end our degrees work in certain areas of business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Out of respect for those impacted
Wait.
today.
Let's stop one paragraph at a time. And I think
Mhm.
this is already very interesting because what you read, it's a very generic jargon that classic says, hey, we are trying to make Microsoft more agile,
Yeah,
more
strategic
accessible,
growth,
strategic
all the
growth.
standard words.
Standard for to say we are cutting cost.
Mm.
This is at the end of the day what it is. We are cutting cost. And while Phil says we are cutting cost on managers, that is not true. How can I say that that is not true? Well, it's very simple because I have a lot of contact in the game industry, and I can tell you that basically none of the high manager in Microsoft is looking for a new job. All the people that is looking for a new job were not the managers.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
Mhm. Out of respect for those impacted today, the specifics of today's notification and any organizational shift will be shared by our team leaders in the coming days. And this part that I'm going to read is especially interesting for how it's framed. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. The success we are we are seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We must make choices now for continued success in future years, and the key part of that strategic is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate effort on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations the company has for our business. This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experiences for players for generations to come. So
Very good.
basically, they are saying that in this moment, Microsoft is doing great, and we know some of the data. They saw a 5% increase in revenue, I think during the last year or during the last quarter. So obviously, well, not so obviously, but 5% is not a lot, but still is an increase in revenue. They are not losing money, they are
Money,
still
exactly.
increasing the revenue. Now we can say that there is inflation, so maybe that 5% is eaten by inflation, but I'm not very sure about that. The fact is that he himself is saying Microsoft is doing great right now, but they
But
are
let's see.
still going to cut a lot of people. And this paragraph right here seems to me a lot like it's not written for the people who will receive the note, but it's written for stakeholders
Yes.
to make them feel okay. Well, This is great. This is what we care about, actually. This is great. They are doing this. We should not be afraid of the people that are being laid off, but they are doing this to protect what is thriving. They will concentrate the effort, and this is how it sounds to me, at least.
So for me, here there is a lot to say. So
Mm.
first, I agree exactly with Uriel. So the message start with we are making money, and I agree with what Uriel say. Maybe it's not as much money as you can think because inflation and things. But there is a part for me that is incredibly important, and it's this part. Um, the success we are seeing, it's currently the success we are seeing currently is based on tough decision that we made previously. So why this sentence for me is super important? Because basically this sentence is a justification. So
Yeah.
this sentence is saying, hey, we had a 5% increase market because we made tough decision, because we made things that were difficult. And now we're making another tough decision that will be good for the people who will survive this decision. So if you're not between these 9,000, hey, you have to see this in a good positive way because it will make us stronger. But here's the thing: if that decision was so successful, then why we are cutting 9,000 people? Because here for me, it's the entire conundrum. If that decision was so successful, was so good, was so great, then why we are cutting 9,000 people? We prove that we have more money, hypothetically speaking, or at least we have not less money as we had an increase in market. So if that decision was tough decision was good and we have an increase in market, then why we're cutting? Because the truth is, and that's exactly what Uriel was saying, that this letter is not for the people receiving it, it's for the stakeholder to avoid panic. Because this is something that I will always say. I will always say that. You, Uriel, probably listen me to say that multiple times. It's the first time that maybe you watch us, you will maybe hear this, but the secret to have a good company in video game, and with good I mean stable, successful, and making good game and not firing people, is to not have a public company. That's the secret. In case you're not expert of what you're talking with public means it's on the market, which means basically he has stocks, he has action that can be bought, and so that's the thing. You need to be a private company like Steam. Steam is 100% a private company. Now, you can be a private company with equities, yes, absolutely, but still a private company. Why? Because big companies that are public companies, they need to do quarterly reports, and quarterly reports don't mix with video game, because video game are a constant loss of money for many years with a high injects of money for like 3 months and then losing money for the next 3 years and continue like that. This, of course, is a model that on a quarterly base looks awful because you have few months in which like, well, we're continuing to losing money. How do you mind this will connect with the firing people? Because firing people cut cost. Cutting cost reduce the losing money, which makes the quarter better.
Yes. I will proceed with reading. Prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we would not be here. We would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted. These decisions are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental. It is the results of years of dedicated effort from our teams. HR is working directly with impacted employees to provide severance plans benefits align with local laws. including pay, healthcare coverage, and job placement resources to support their transition. Employees whose roles were eliminated are encouraged to explore open positions across Microsoft Gaming, where their applications will be given priority review. Thank you, everyone who has shaped our
Oh, wait, wait,
culture.
wait.
Our
Let's stop 1 second for these ones because there is a lot of to say to these ones too.
Okay.
Um, so prioritizing our opportunity is essential, but that doesn't lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we will not be here today without energy. Huh? And now here, once again, this is for me, it's very bad because, hey, basically I'm saying with this momentum, this positivity that I'm saying in the start, this increasing margin and market extends to you guys, which it's partially true, partially not, in the sense of it's a big company. There are so many factors in it, but for sure, people worked had an impact and
Mm.
probably a positive impact. So saying these things for me, it's almost worse than not saying it because saying like, hey, guys, we are doing well thanks to you, but now you're gone. So at least not saying that, because it doesn't make it look bad, looking good. The second part, although for me it's the most important. These decisions are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental. It is the result of your dedicated effort from our team. Once again, everything is good thanks to you guys. You're not bad. Basically, you're good, but we are still firing you. HR is working directly with impacted employees to provide severance plans benefit, which even this sounds still very bad to me because basically they say according to laws.
Yeah.
What it means? It means that yes, basically, if your state, if your nation forces us to give you a severance package, we will do it. Otherwise, we can do whatever we want, which means that maybe you will get a severance package, maybe you will not get a severance package, maybe you will get a random severance package, maybe you will get a candy as a severance package,
Yeah.
and then finally, for
It
me,
sounds a lot like, don't worry, guys, you will get the bare minimum that the law require.
exactly. But for me, the most outrageous part of this is the end, which is employees whose roles were eliminated are encouraged to
Diago, you are cut off. I cannot hear you.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I said internet at some time. So I would say the last part for me is the worst because basically what he's saying is send us your CV, and if you write that you were fired by us, we will give you priority review. But the point for me is if you know there were open position in Microsoft Gaming and you knew you were about to fire 9,000 people because you don't do that from night to day. It's a month long minimum decision. Why you didn't already activate HR to fill the open position in Microsoft Gaming with these people?
Yeah,
Why
allocate the
asking
resources.
them exactly? Why asking them to fix your CV, send us your CV through Microsoft.com, and tell us I was fired? Is already in your company. Okay, is already in your company. Ask HR to through so these 9,000 people and search the best one to fill this position. And maybe we're only 50 position, okay? But instead of 9,000, there will be 9,000 minus 50. It will be still something. No, like saying, hey guys, don't forget to send us your CV. We will check it extra well because we just fired you. It's insane. It's completely insane.
Yeah. I think these links to the problem of ghost jobs and all of what is happening that is terrible in big companies. So basically, they continuously open new positions, even if they never fill them
All the
out.
time.
And it's just to show once again to stakeholders that the company is very healthy, see how much we are planning to grow or how much we are actually growing. We recruited all of these new stuff, etc.
Exactly.
And
We
I
had
don't know,
access to
maybe it's
all
to
these
feed.
talents if we want to.
Hmm. Sorry, what, Diego?
Now I was saying they also keep this position open, as you're absolutely correct. Also to say, look, to collect CV and say, look how many talents we could achieve and get if we want to.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's just feeding uh, that mechanism. And
Exactly.
just to close up the letter, this is the last phrase. Thank you to everyone who has shaped our culture, our products, and our community. We will move forward with deep appreciation and respect for all who have contributed to this journey. Phil. And that's it.
That's and so for me, this letter is a joke. Very simple. I might get like enemies to saying, that such a big company. I don't care. The letter for me is a joke. And it comes from one problem, which is the biggest problem in the gaming industry, which is many of the top manager of the hiring people on the one that make decision are not a developer. They've never been developer. They've never done a game. And they don't know how to grow a gaming company in the correct way. Because these firing are the result of overgrowing or wrong growing in the previous time. That is the concept. Then why do people overgrow? Because this manager, most of the time, are generic people from MBAs, which is the American business, let's say, degree, basically. And exactly as Uriel said, they see uh, people and they just hire because they can. Okay, it's growth. I need to show my stakeholder that is growing. I need to show these people that we are improving, and improving means more people. But that's not the point. That's not how you grow in the game industry. That's not how you make games. That's not how you keep a gaming company healthy. That's maybe how you keep an automotive company healthy. That's potentially, I don't know it, but that's potentially how you do
Why?
it.
Because we are not working in that sector and we
Exactly,
are ignorant. Uh, in,
in the gaming field.
yeah.
But, sorry, sometimes I'm doing that because there are mosquitoes. But that's not how you keep a company, a video game company, growing in the right way. That is overgrown, and that is so, so bad. Incredibly bad, because overgrowing in the video game industry, it's a cost. And then what you do, you cut the cost. But instead of having the cost at all, you should have grown in the right way. You should have grown when needed. You should have grown considering people, team working, building team capabilities. You should have worked on project necessity. And that's something that I lived in Ubisoft. One of the things that was happening in Ubisoft was at the end of a project, I sometimes had like 1 month of nothing. I had to go to the office. I had to sit down. I had to watch Jira and reading email, but I didn't actually have any real job. I didn't have any real work. I had to stay there in case I had real work. But I didn't. And why I didn't have real work? Because one project was finished and I was waiting to get on board on the new project. And now in that month, my salary was a complete cost. I wasn't producing anything. Okay, it was literally 100% cost. But who is this fault? It's my fault, or it's the company fault, or is the manager fault? Well, here's the thing: it's the manager fault and the company fault, because they have more people than what they need, because they need to have these people in case they need something to do, in case the project get bigger, in case we are in delay. And that's the classic joke that you hear a lot of time of, 9 girls will deliver a baby in 1 month instead of nine. And this is, of course, a joke because it's not possible. So these people don't plan correctly because they don't know how to plan correctly because they never made a game. And then this is the result. Then you eventually continue to hire because you are on a momentum. That's what Phil is saying. They were on a momentum. You hire, you hire, you hire, because hey, the momentum will always go right, and as soon the momentum stops or delay, you cut the cost.
Yeah, and we are still feeling the exactly this. We had a big momentum during COVID for obvious reasons, and for obvious reasons, it stopped.
Exactly.
And now we are still living the consequences of that. That's not the whole reason, in my opinion, but still, it's part of the reason. And
Oh yeah, it's not the whole, but for sure a big part of it.
yeah, yeah. So following the short game versus the big picture and chasing the quarter numbers can make people blind for a number of reasons. And one of the things that I'd like to discuss today, it's also we said that some projects, the founding to some projects were cut. So I'm pretty sure that the 9,100 and how many people that were laid off will not be the end of this, because obviously if you cut the funding to big projects, other companies, other companies will also need to let off people
Mhm.
because they don't have the project to work on anymore. So there will be other consequences to this, and I know for sure that this will not be the last layoff, even not the last mass layoff that we hear of, because just in the
Mhm.
last 2 years, this was the fourth round just for Microsoft, and we know that it's
Mhm.
happening in the whole industry. But there are even deeper consequences that we may not realize because they don't make the big titles in the
Mhm.
newspapers, the first headers,
And
but still they're there.
I want to add two things on this because it's super important what you said. First is I fully agree there will be not the last layoff. Actually, I can give you my prediction with something that I read recently, and we will see some layoff in Ubisoft. Why? Because Ubisoft now formed the new company with Tencent, and the owner of this new company is basically Guillaume's son, Yves. Sorry, not Guillaume, Yves' son. And this company owns the biggest IP of Ubisoft, and this means that the old Ubisoft, let's call it old Ubisoft, will go under a restructure, which means layoff. But also, I want to add something very important to what you say, which is projects and a different angle from yours. I fully agree
Mhm.
with your angle. We'll see because, of course, cutting these things will affect team, and this team will not fire, but simply die basically without the fundings. But here there's something else I want to add, which is these 9,000 people for sure didn't cost. Just to give an example, this case is not Microsoft, but just to give an example, as much as Concord, not nearly as much as Concord, which, in case you don't know, was the big failure of Sony. And why I wanted to talk about that, you say like Concord is all news. Why you are talking about Concord? Because basically, you hear a lot of time about these big projects. Oh, Concord. What it was, 500 million for Concord, if
I will
I
check
remember
out
correctly.
very quickly.
Half a billion. I don't remember, but probably I remember correctly.
Yeah, 400 million. Yeah,
Maybe in
more or
chat
less.
you guys remember. 500 million. So half a billion dollars. And then you have other things like Anthem, and you have other projects that are born and fail. Like think about the one that made from the guys that make World of Tanks. They just released one and it died in 3 months. Mecha Break, something like that. So you have all these projects that cost hundreds of millions to be produced. And of course, in these hundreds of millions, there is the people working on them. Don't take me wrong, but they cost hundreds of millions. Mostly, these hundreds are not in the people. The cost of the people is usually a fraction. Most of the time, it's cost of technology. Most of the time, it's cost of marketing, cyber cost, and things like that. Security, QA testing, stuff like that. Also, someone new join us. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to say hi and to give any feedback, comment, or whatever you want. And so basically, what is my question here? Is the truth is that Concord is a bad game, and it would have never have been successful. It's a fact. Okay, it's a simple fact. Now, bad game means that, oh my god, I liked Concord. You are wrong, Diego. No, no, you can like a bad game, but bad game is a concept that will not work. But still, that game took 500 million. And I'm sure in Microsoft, we don't know it, but I'm sure of it. There are similar games that have taken 250 million, 300 million, sinking money, sinking money. Oh, also, hi Vittorio, nice to see you and nice to see that you're back in Italy. And these games probably costed 500 million, 600 million, whatever. And this money got lost, basically. That's the end of the day. And now you have a 600 million and you say, well, you know what? I'll fire 9,000 people and get this money back. So why you basically, I wanted to give this angle because another element is that in the industry, we need to be mature enough. And I see that with publisher to first parties like Microsoft to stop chasing the endless golden goose. A lot of time when you are a Steam, oh, there is an audio desync. Oh, I see. Oh, it's because probably the connection. That's why. Ah, okay. Thank you for telling us. Maybe in the recording, maybe this will be better in the podcast.
Let's hope.
But thank you for letting us know. But basically, what I wanted to say is a lot of time you see in publishing and first parties that when you present your small game, 500K, less than a million, it's not a game as a service. Um, the predictions say that probably you will make maybe a million and a half, which is, remember, it's 2x, 3x the investment. Okay, it's gigantic margin basically compared to any other industry in the world. Because if I go to a car dealership and tell them I can make you 3x on the investment on selling a car, they will say, "What? Please, please give me." You get these teams that ask for this little money that basically is nothing compared to 500 million. Think 500 million. How many half a million game you could have made? Okay, but then the first party instead chase the next big game as a service. Why? Because the game as a service is the golden goose. Yes, if the game as a service goes right, it will make 100x, 1000x. It almost never goes right. That's the point. The 99% of game as a service dies within 1 year. And if you watch, and if you watch the one from World of Tanks, it died in 3 months. 3 months. World of Tanks pulled the plug in 3 months, which it was a smart move. Don't think me wrong, but that's the thing. So 500 million that leads to nothing. You could have had 100 game, literally 100 game, or maybe 1,000. I don't know, something around that. And each one of them could have a concrete chance of making 2, 3x. You would have had the same amount if the game as a service was right. No, no, you wouldn't have the same amount because the game as a service would have made 1,000x. But you would have a more safe strategy and a less everyone thing. But as you never see that. You never see that because in the industry there is this myth that you need to do the big game. You need to make the 300 hours gameplay. You need the replayability. That's another big myth in the industry.
Yeah, and in fact, just as you say, one of the cancelled project was the reboot of Perfect Dark from the initiative, and that was for a game. So I expect the budget to be around those numbers that you just said.
Exactly.
Yes, and all of these will also have another type of consequences, that is how it affects the investors. So what is
Exactly.
the message that all of this is going to arrive to an investor or yeah, investors. Not a very good one. It's not
No,
painting an healthy image of the industry because the industry right now it's not in a healthy situation. But still, it's going to affect so much more than just what we first think of when we read 9,000 layoffs. That is still tragic, even by just that. But there is so much more that also goes on underneath. Um, and yeah, it's not cool looking great, sadly.
no, no. And in case someone is being affected and is watching these or listening to the audio, watching the recording on YouTube or whatever, what is my suggestion mainly? Well, my suggestion is, and I know it's difficult. Well, first, of course, depending on your situation, how many money you have left or thing, and if you are still interested in the game industry, but you have certain possibilities. The first one is, of course, leave the game industry temporarily or fully. For example, if you are a programmer, it's easier than other jobs. That's something you can do. You can, of course, sending CVs in other company, but this is a bit more harder in this moment because if it's 9,000 people got left home, you have competition. Basically, you have high competition because this
Yeah.
number will eventually get absorbed by the game industry. Yes, but it will take time to get absorbed. Third one is to open your company. Now, for this, my suggestion and doing your project is to wait 2026. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I told that multiple times, which is the industry will start to grow back in 2026. 2025, which now it's less than a half year, because we are basically in August, really. It's it's still like few months. We still have like something like 4 months left. So it's still gonna take time to do that, but you can start to work on a prototype and things like that. But really, my message is not to the people that have been laid off. My message, and I hope that in this audio, it's to people that now or in the future will have this position as decision maker for these processes. And my suggestion is, please, before being the decision making in these processes, please make a game. That's really my biggest suggestion to the game industry and my biggest suggestion to avoid this thing in the future. If to reach this position as decision making, you should have made one game. Not, of course, one game as hobbyist, but one game as developer. Because if we everyone that make this decision of hiring and firing and giving budget and understanding things come actually from being a developer, from being a gamer, we will make better decision in the short term and long term, which will lead to better game, healthier game, and a healthier industry in general.
Yes, would be really, really nice if that was
Yes,
the case.
it is.
Uh,
It is. And of course, as I say, I think this is true for everything. I think it's true also for, I don't know, automotive. As we were saying before, if you put me in automotive decision making, probably I will make shit decision.
yeah. Um, okay, so one last thing that I'd like to
Mhm.
discuss before we say goodbye, also because it's 10 past 9, so we are close to the end. It's apparently in Microsoft, because once again, this was a whole Microsoft layout, not just an Xbox layoff. Um, Microsoft during the last period, so and very very rapid and promising increase in the revenue of AI, obviously, like about 23,
Yes, of course.
22%, if I remember correctly. That is visibly higher than the 5% that video game
Yeah.
made. So, and they are going to put a lot more resources in the AI department. So probably that's also one of the reasons why
Oh,
all
sure.
of these layoffs are taking place. And these presumably make me think that they will replace some of these positions with AI.
Oh,
And
yes.
just this would be like a topic for a whole, not just one episode, but a whole
No,
series
yes.
of episodes. But this is also problematic because we are seeing many people from the like juniors and mid-level positions that are being laid off, and once again this is chasing the short-term game over a bigger picture, because if we lose all of our junior and mids and we just replace them with AI, who will be the next senior when
Mhm.
the seniors that we have right now they go away? When we will
Yes.
need new seniors, we will not have any senior because we didn't train them from junior and mid positions. And I think that the Xbox department lost a lot of of knowledge, like internal knowledge about the development
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
process
But
that were taking place.
I actually want to add two things on what you said because it's super important.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. For sure, a lot of this money have been moved into more profitable things. Although I believe that at least now AI is a big bubble. You can just simply say by the fact that people are hiring open AI manager for 100 million each, which are numbers that are bigger than football or soccer, depends if you're American or European players. And it's insane, of course. It's completely insane. These numbers are not uh, worthy. Doesn't matter how intelligent or good you are in your field. It's very unlucky that any single person, one single person, can be worth 100 million uh, for for that reason. Unless, of course, it's like an incredible super genius. There maybe these people are, but still, it's about because I saw multiple of these people get hired for this number. So mm. The second thing is it's something super important what you said, which is I fully agree. Who's gonna be the senior? Who's gonna make the decision making? And we go into this vicious circle of then no one will be the senior. So I hire a software producer that never made games, but hey, it's 15 years of experience in software, maybe he can make a right decision. He will make a wrong decision. But there's also a third point which I want to say, which is AI is an incredible powerful tool, and we open the genie. We open the lamp, so the genie is gonna stay out. You're not gonna get back in the lamp. But for me, and I was discussing that with John Henley,
Mhm.
and it's a beautiful sentence, but there is such a wrong mindset on how using AI in games. And at the moment, AI in game is used to solve this question, which is how can we make games cheaper, cheaper? Yeah, so reducing the cost. So how we can use AI to reduce the cost of production game. This is basically the question how it's being used AI. Instead, that's not how we should answer the question. The question should be how we can use AI to make better games. Why it's such a small difference but such an important one? Because every single time, and it just happened with Clear Obscure, and it happened with many other games, it's been proven there is only one really critical rule in the game industry for selling game. That is your game needs to be good. It's that. At the end of the day, you can have strong marketing, and strong marketing can help you sell the game that maybe sell in the short term. You can have an interesting way to talk about your game, good framing, good positioning, good timing, good everything. But if your game is not good, it will eventually die and stop selling. If your game is good, it will increase its momentum and continue to sell and create a franchise that will sell more and more game in the future. Because of course, Clay Obscure, Expedition 33, the um, development team already said that Expedition 33 is the first game in the Clair Obscure universe, which makes perfect sense. So the main rule is always how AI how can I implement AI to make? I should ask, how can I use AI to? This will produce better games, which will sell more because they will have more quality, and the user will be happy. And when your game will do two, 3 times, 10 times, you will not care that it's mainly expensive. Just think GTA 5. GTA 5 was at the time the highest cost game ever, but you never heard Rockstar saying, "Oh my God, we spent so much money." No, because they were literally drowning in money. So when your game is expensive, it's expensive only if it fails. So instead of using AI to say how can I make the game cheap, how can I use AI to make the game good? That's what the question.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely agree with you, Diego.
And
100%.
with that, we are 45 minutes and few seconds. So we finished the live today for talking about a different topic.
Yes.
So I'm sure this will lead to very interesting shorts because there were a lot of things to say, and will lead to a very interesting podcast, a very interesting discussion on LinkedIn. You will be able to find these on Spotify. You will be able to find these in two versions, small and large, or a kind of like, I don't know how to say, let's say summary of it. You will be able to find the live on YouTube, on Twitch, and then you will be able to find shorts on YouTube and on LinkedIn, and also on TikTok. I don't upload the full live on TikTok because
Mhm.
it's too big, it's too long to doing it. So thank you once again for following us. Thank you for giving us your time. It's been a pleasure, and see you next week, or with the game news, or with the game talk. We don't know.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.